The call came in at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in February. I remember because I was watching the time, willing myself to sleep, when my phone lit up the dark bedroom. Chen, we got a body. Lincoln Park. You're going to want to see this one. Dispatch didn't elaborate. They never do when it's bad. 20 minutes later, I pulled up to a brownstone on West Fullerton, the kind of place where a one-bedroom goes for $3,000 a month. Squad cars had the street lit up like a crime scene Christmas. My partner, Detective Marcus Webb, was already there, standing on the stoop with his hands in his coat pockets, breath fogging in the cold. "Third floor," he said. "Landlord called it in. Said she smelled something." We climbed the stairs. The building was old. Creaking wood, yellowed wallpaper, radiator heat that made the air thick and metallic. The smell hit me on the second-floor landing. You don't forget that smell once you've encountered it. Sweet rot. Copper. Something fundamentally wrong. The apartment door was open. Patrol had secured the scene, but nobody wanted to stay inside longer than necessary. I stepped in. The victim was in the bathroom, slumped in the tub. Female, mid-20s, brunette, dressed in what looked like an expensive silk robe. Her throat had been cut, deep, precise, ear to ear. The blood had pooled beneath her, dried now into a dark rust. But that wasn't what made me stop. Every mirror in the apartment had been shattered. The bathroom mirror, the bedroom vanity, even a small compact on the nightstand, cracked carefully into a spiderweb pattern. And on each broken surface, someone had written in the victim's lipstick, "Look at me." "Jesus," Webb muttered behind me. I didn't respond. I was already thinking ahead, categorizing, processing. This wasn't random. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong or a domestic dispute that escalated. This was something else. I didn't know it yet, but this case would follow me home. The victim's name was Amanda Reeves, 26 years old, marketing consultant for a tech firm downtown. No criminal record, no enemies that anyone knew of. The kind of clean life that makes a murder feel even more senseless. Her apartment showed no signs of forced entry. The locks were intact. The windows were secure. Whoever killed her, she'd let them in. We ran the usual playbook. Talked to neighbors. Nobody heard anything. Nobody saw anything. It was Chicago in February. People kept their heads down and their doors locked. Talked to her employer. She was well-liked, professional, no workplace drama. Talked to her family back in Indiana. Devastated, confused. Couldn't imagine who would do this. The medical examiner, Dr. Patel, gave us the breakdown 2 days later in the morgue. I've worked with Patel for 6 years. She doesn't sugarcoat. Single incision, left to right, deep enough to sever both carotid arteries in the trachea. Death would have been quick, under a minute. No defensive wounds on her hands or arms. "She didn't fight back?" Webb asked. "She couldn't. Tox screen came back positive for Rohypnol. High dose. She was incapacitated when it happened." I felt something tighten in my chest. "So he drugged her first." "Or she drugged herself," Patel said carefully. "There was wine in her system, 2 glasses worth. Could have been slipped into her drink earlier that evening. Who does she have dinner with and then lets into her apartment at, what time are we estimating?" Based on lividity and temperature, I'd say she died between 10 p.m. and midnight. Sunday night. Sunday night. I made a note. Most people don't entertain strangers on a Sunday night. We pulled her phone records. In the week leading up to her death, Amanda had been texting heavily with 3 people. Her mother, her best friend Rachel, and someone saved in her contacts as D. Rachel Chen, no relation to me, came into the precinct voluntarily. She was a mess. Mascara streaked, hands shaking, the whole performance of grief that usually reads as genuine because it is. "We were supposed to have brunch that Monday," Rachel said, voice breaking. "When she didn't show, I just thought, I don't know. I thought she was hungover or something." "Did Amanda have a boyfriend?" I asked. "Not really. She'd been seeing someone casually. Nothing serious." "This person, did they have a name?" Rachel hesitated. "David, I think. She never introduced us. She was kind of private about her dating life." Why's that? Amanda had this thing about presentation. She wanted everything perfect before she shared it with people. Her apartment, her career, her relationships. She didn't like showing people anything that wasn't polished. I underlined presentation in my notes. Did she seem worried about anything? Scared? No. If anything, she seemed happy. Excited even. She texted me Saturday night saying she was finally seeing clearly. I asked what she meant, but she just sent back a smiley face. Seeing clearly. I thought about the shattered mirrors. Finding David wasn't easy. The phone number associated with Dee and Amanda's contacts was a burner, disconnected 2 days after her death. No social media presence. No credit card trail. The guy was a ghost. But then we caught a break. Building security footage showed Amanda entering her apartment Sunday evening at 8:43 p.m. She wasn't alone. A man walked in with her, tall, dark hair, nice coat. The angle wasn't great, but we got a partial profile. We ran it through facial recognition. Nothing. Webb and I sat in the break room at 11 p.m. on a Friday, case files spread across the table, cold coffee in styrofoam cups. What if David isn't his real name? Webb said. Obviously. No, I mean, what if he's using multiple identities, dating multiple women the same way? It was a good theory. We sent the security footage to surrounding precincts, asked if anyone had similar cases. Nothing came back immediately, but I filed it away. Patterns take time to emerge. I've worked homicide for 12 years. You see enough death, you start to recognize signatures. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was too controlled, too ritualistic. The broken mirrors, the lipstick, the phrase, "look at me." I spent hours thinking about what that meant. Was it a demand, a taunt, a confession? I consulted with Dr. Rosen, the department's forensic psychologist. She sat across from me in her office, reading through the case file with clinical detachment. The mirrors are significant, she said. Destroying them suggests an attempt to eliminate reflection, either his or hers. Symbolically, he's erasing her ability to see herself. Or erasing his own image, I added. Possibly. The message, "look at me," reads as desperate. It's a cry for recognition. He wants to be seen, but on his terms. What kind of person does this? Dr. Rosen leaned back. Someone with a profound need for control, possibly narcissistic, possibly suffering from identity disturbance. The drug use indicates premeditation and a desire to avoid confrontation. He didn't want her to fight back. He wanted her compliant. You think he knew her well? I think he made her believe he did. That stuck with me, made her believe. I went back to Rachel. This time I pressed harder. Tell me about the Sunday before Amanda died. Did you talk to her? Yeah, we texted in the morning. She said she was spending the day cleaning. She was kind of obsessive about her apartment. Did she mention David? She said they had plans that night. Dinner, maybe. She seemed happy about it. Did Amanda ever show you a picture of him? Rachel frowned. No, I asked once, but she said she'd introduce us when the time was right. Did that seem strange to you? A little, but like I said, Amanda was private. I showed Rachel the security footage, freeze frame, the man's partial profile. Could this be David? She squinted at the screen. Maybe. I don't know. I never saw him. Dead end. We recanvassed the building, knocked on every door. Most people had already been interviewed, but sometimes you get lucky on the second pass. An older woman on the second floor, Mrs. Kowalski, invited us in. Her apartment smelled like cat food and lavender. I told the other officers I didn't see anything, she said, defensive. We're just being thorough, ma'am, Webb said, putting on his charm. Sometimes people remember details later. She thought for a moment. Well, there was one thing. The night before, Saturday, I heard Amanda talking to someone in the hallway. It was late, maybe 11. Talking to who? I don't know. A man, I think. But the strange thing was, it sounded like she was confused. Confused how? She kept saying, "Wait, what?" Like she didn't understand something. And then she laughed, but it didn't sound happy. It sounded nervous. My pulse quickened. Did you hear what the man said? No, he spoke too quietly. But after a minute, her door closed, and that was it. We left Mrs. Kowalski's apartment with more questions than answers. 3 weeks into the investigation, we got a call from Milwaukee PD. They had a case, unsolved, 8 months old. Young woman, late 20s, found dead in her apartment. Throat cut, mirrors broken, same exact signature. Her name was Jessica Torres, marketing professional. No forced entry, no clear suspect. And she'd been seeing someone casually before her death, a man she'd met online. He went by Daniel. We drove to Milwaukee the next morning, met with their lead detective, a grizzled guy named Kowalski. No relation to Mrs. Kowalski, but the coincidence wasn't lost on me. We chased this Daniel guy for months, Kowalski said, handing us the file. Burner phone, fake social media. We pulled footage from a restaurant where they had dinner, got a decent shot of his face, ran it through everything. Nothing. I looked at the photo. Tall, dark hair, nice coat. It was the same man from Amanda's building. Did Jessica have friends? Family? Best friend, Maria, tore herself apart trying to help us. Said Jessica was happy before she died. Said she'd finally found someone who got her. Webb and I exchanged a look. What about other cities, I asked. You check if this pattern shows up anywhere else? We flagged it nationally, nothing came back. But that doesn't mean it's not out there. I felt the case expanding in my mind, spreading out like a web. 2 cities, 2 women, same MO. How many more? Back in Chicago, we worked the angle hard. Amanda and Jessica had some things in common. Both young professionals, both in marketing, both active on dating apps. We got warrants for Amanda's app data, Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, and there he was. Profile name, David M. No last name. Photos that looked professional but generic, handsome, smiling, nothing too distinct. Bio read, looking for someone real, tired of games. The photos were stolen. Reverse image search showed they belonged to a male model in Sweden who had no idea his face was being used. We sent the profile to Forensic IT. They tore it apart. The account had been created 3 months before Amanda's death. Before that, it didn't exist. After her death, it went dormant, and then popped up again 2 weeks later in Detroit under a slightly different name, David R. We contacted Detroit PD. They didn't have a matching homicide, but they promised to keep an eye out. I sat at my desk late that night, staring at the profile photo, this man who didn't exist, who stole faces and names and trust. Who are you? I muttered. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place. Rachel called me directly, which she wasn't supposed to do, but I let it slide. Detective Chen, I found something. I was going through old photos on my phone, and I think I saw David. Where? At Amanda's birthday party last September. He wasn't supposed to be there. I mean, Amanda didn't introduce him or anything, but I have this group photo, and there's a guy in the background. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now, send it to me. Now. The photo came through. 20 people crowded into a rooftop bar, Amanda in the center, smiling. And there, barely visible in the back corner, partially obscured, a tall man, dark hair, looking directly at the camera. I zoomed in, enhanced the image as much as I could, and my blood went cold, because I recognized him, not from the security footage, not from Milwaukee, from Amanda's apartment. He'd been there the day we processed the scene, standing in the hallway with the other residents, watching us work. I'd walked right past him. I pulled up the canvassing notes. There, 3rd floor resident, apartment 3B, Ryan Mitchell, 29, software engineer, no priors, cooperative. We'd interviewed him. He'd said he barely knew Amanda. Just neighbors, kept to ourselves. Webb and I kicked in his door at 6 a.m. with a warrant and a SWAT team. The apartment was empty, but what we found inside made my stomach turn. A wall covered in photographs, not just of Amanda, 6 different women, all brunette, all mid-20s, all smiling in candid shots, at coffee shops, grocery stores, walking down the street, photos taken from a distance, photos taken without their knowledge, and in the center of the wall, a mirror unbroken, with the words written in red marker, "They never saw me." We put out an APB, Ryan Mitchell, real name, real person, real job. He'd lived in that building for 2 years, quiet, polite, invisible. The apartment was a treasure trove. Burner phones, fake IDs, wigs, colored contacts, everything he needed to become David or Daniel or whoever else he wanted to be. We found journals, pages and pages of obsessive notes about each woman, what they liked, what they feared, how to make them feel seen, how to make them trust him. Amanda needs someone who appreciates her perfectionism, one entry read. She's desperate to be understood. I'll give her that. He'd studied them, learned them, and then he'd erased them. We also found a train ticket, purchased the day after Amanda's murder. One way to St. Louis. St. Louis PD found him 3 days later. He was living under another name, working at a tech startup, already building a profile on another dating app. They brought him back to Chicago in cuffs. I sat across from him in the interrogation room. He looked ordinary, brown eyes, neat haircut, the kind of guy you'd pass on the street and never remember. "Why'd you do it, Ryan?" He smiled, not malicious, almost sad. "They never looked at me," he said quietly. "I could be anyone, and they'd believe it. David, Daniel. It didn't matter. They saw what they wanted to see. So you killed them." I gave them what they wanted first. Someone who understood them, someone who made them feel special. He leaned forward. And when they finally trusted me, really trusted me, I showed them the truth. What truth? That they never really saw me at all. They fell in love with a reflection. I thought about the shattered mirrors, the lipstick message. "Look at me." "You wanted them to see the real you," I said. "I wanted them to see anything," he whispered. "But they couldn't, even at the end. So I made sure no one else could either." Ryan Mitchell was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, Amanda Reeves and Jessica Torres. The evidence was overwhelming. DNA, digital footprints, his own journals. The trial lasted 4 weeks. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Life without parole. I sat in the courtroom when the verdict was read, watched his face. He didn't react, just stared straight ahead, like he was looking at something no one else could see. Amanda's mother hugged me in the hallway afterward, crying. "Thank you," she kept saying. "Thank you." But I didn't feel like I'd done anything worth thanking, because we'd only found 2 victims. Ryan's wall had 6 photographs. 4 women were still out there. Missing, dead, or maybe just lucky enough to have gotten away. We're still looking, sending bulletins to every major city, checking cold cases, trying to match faces to names. But I think about Ryan sometimes, about what he said in that interrogation room. They saw what they wanted to see. It bothers me because it's true. We all do it. We see reflections, projections, versions of people that fit our narratives. We fall in love with ideas, not realities. And sometimes the person staring back at us in the mirror isn't who we think they are. The case was closed. That didn't mean it was over.